A very warm morning, students. Today we will discuss Romeo and Juliet. That means only that portion which is assigned for your PU2 syllabus. And I believe strongly that it is going to be the captivating one, like Juliet's beauty. Okay. So the first one is the extract from Act 1, Scene 5, where Romeo, for the first time, sees Juliet and got captivated by the enchanting, by the captivating beauty of Juliet. Romeo has come for the Capulets' ball for in search of Rosalind, but when he found Juliet, he found the ardent love. And these two stanzas are based on their prodigious love for each other, right? So let us begin how beautifully in this poem Romeo has expressed his love for the cherubic beauty of Juliet, right? Let us read from the beginning. What Romeo says, "Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright." That means that Juliet is so beautiful that her beauty surpasses the brightness of colorful light, and moreover, she, her beauty can teach a torch how to burn bright. Okay. Next is it seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. See, we will be taking this second and third line as the complete line. You can see she hangs upon the cheek of night. There is a nice comparison, right? What Romeo says that Juliet's matchless beauty is so rich, right? Like a rich jewel. She is sparkling on the Ethiop's ear, right? Now I'm going back to second line that she hangs upon the cheek of night as Juliet with her divine beauty. She is standing, she is presenting in the night. That concept of night is compared with Ethiop. Ethiop, that is Ethiopian lady whose skin is on the darker side. The jewels, all the jewels or a rich jewel, right, which sparkle on her ear more beautifully in contrast to her skin color. She means Juliet is having such a beauty in the background of dark night. So Ethiop's ear is the cheek of night, that is the night, the darkness, and she, her beauty, the sparkling beauty, is compared with a rich jewel. Fine. And here one more thing that I like to say, this juxtapose we will be getting in several times, right? That means black and white, the contrast in color, because it signifies, the white signifies the divinity, the purity, the love, the passion, the unity, whereas black symbolizes the darkness, the enmity, the feudal families, right? So here often you will find this black and white comparison, and it is very important for this concept of Romeo and Juliet, right? Shall we go for the next? Beauty to reach for us for earth too dear. Romeo feels that Juliet's beauty is too dear, right? That means too expensive, as she has the divine beauty. So it is very expensive to be lost, right? To shows a snowy dove trooping with crows as yonder lady over her fellows shows. In the last video, I have discussed about the figure of speech, and I have watched that. I believe most of you didn't find it very interesting, because it is not only a love story. It has this story, this concept has many more things. So, last video, if you have not watched, then I find you will have to struggle to understand the concept, because this is based on metaphor. Here we will find simile, we will find juxtapose, we will find alliteration, so repetition. So this is something that you need to learn, need to see the previous video once, or you may somewhere you will have to have the conception clear about figure of speech. Okay, so this is obvious and this is mandatory, students, right? See here, now I'm going for this to show, shows a snowy dove trooping with crows as yonder lady over her fellows shows. How Juliet is. Juliet's beauty is divine. Juliet's beauty is extraordinary, right? She is the symbol of purity, she is the symbol of divinity and peacefulness. So, she and her beauty, that means Juliet's beauty, is divine. It is white because the symbol, the color of purity is white. So she is a snowy dove. Dove is a bird, and snowy dove, which the color of the dove is like snow white. And rest of her associates are like crows. It is not like, kind of ugly criticism, but take it like black, white and black, because other associates of Juliet who are dancing on the floor, they are not so pure, they are not so divine. So, like others, like a common person, those associates are dancing along, whereas Juliet is showing her purity and her divinal beauty on the floor, right? As yonder lady over her fellows shows. Over her fellows they are compared with crows, and this lady is compared with snowy dove. So, in the third line, fourth line, this fifth and sixth line, we can see the sense of comparison and how it is compared as a rich jewel, right? Here, as yonder lady over her fellows shows. I told you, when there are two objects and there is one sense of comparison and as and like is introduced, it is simile, right? And if you consider this one, it seems she hangs upon the cheek of night. It is not exactly the cheek of night if you consider that it is something, the background or the darkness or the dark color. Then this line will give you sense of metaphor, right? To understand it clearly, I have already sent the video. You can check it there, right? As yonder lady over fellows shows. Till here, I believe it is clear. The measure done. What is the measure? The measure means the ball, the dance. When it will get over, I will watch her place of stand, and touching hers make blazed my rude hand. So how he says that though he is handsome, though he is a prince, he believes that her hand is more smooth and shiny and soft and pure, right? All the concept, you will find one thing common, that is Juliet's beauty and the divinity. So what he says, that touching her make my blazed make blazed my rude hand. He feels that is obvious that in comparison to Juliet's soft hand, his will be rude, rough, right? Though he is a prince, right? So here he surrenders himself. You can see that he wants to touch her and to make blazed his rude hands when the measure means the dance will over. Did my heart love till now? Here Romeo feels that he has never met ever the true love. That means he is declining his love for Rosalind. He is marking his previous love as mere infatuation. He says, no, it may not be a love, true love, because it cannot be, because I have never seen such a true beauty till this night. Forswear it. Forswear means, I know, I promise, okay, that it in night, till night, I have never seen such a beauty, right? That means here he is denying the beauty, that he has never seen the beauty, and he clarifies that the true love for Juliet, right? And this entire thing is he is presenting in a form of soliloquy, right? Soliloquy is a device, right? It is a dramatic device. It is very popular one where the inner emotion is expressed to the reader, to the spectator, right? That means exactly Romeo is not speaking. That means it is the speech of his heart, you can say, right? Where he feels the extreme ardent love for Juliet and he wants to express, but as he is in the any family of Capulet's family, so he cannot express it directly, but within himself he is glorifying Juliet's beauty, right? Next, Juliet. Next is scene has changed. You can see Act 3, Scene 2. Okay. So here Juliet, in between many story has propelled because you know that he was being caught by Juliet's cousin, and Lord Capulet intervened and just rescued Romeo, but Romeo again he entered in Capulet's palace and he was hiding somewhere close to Juliet's balcony. So here we can see that Juliet even she feels the love for Romeo, right? Juliet got to know that who Romeo is, but she cannot restrict herself expressing her love for Romeo. What Juliet says, see, come night, come Romeo, come thou day in night, right? How Romeo appears to Juliet's eyes. Juliet feels that he is such handsome prince that he is like a day. His charisma is like a day in night. Now come night, why why she is speaking tonight? Now here another figure of speech we can get, that come night. She is addressing night. She is speaking night, right, to night, right? Then it is apostrophe, right? What she says, that night you come, right? And you bring Romeo. You see, for though we lie upon the wings of night. She relies upon the night. She believes that it can be the night who can only bring Romeo to her. She knows that these two are the feudal family. These two are the sworn enemy of each other. So she understood that they can never be united. So what they are designed to death. They are destined to die, right? Because it never be fruitful, as she has fallen in love with Romeo, who belongs to Montague, right? But she cannot deny the love. She has to surrender, right? So here we can see that she is relying upon the knight. She feels that only the knight is there whom she can trust, who can understand, the nature can understand her feeling, right? And only nature has the strength to bring back Romeo to her. How? That she considers that night is like a bird, and when it spreads its wing and when it flies high, right? It can bring Romeo on its wings. Clear, understood? Here even we are getting that juxtaposed, that contrast color, night and white, right? So thou will, this is thou means you, wilt means will, for you will lie upon the wings of night, right? That means Romeo will lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow. And as Romeo sits on the wings of night, how it looks like whiter than snow on a raven's back. Raven, perhaps you have seen, raven is, it has the resemblance with the crow, but it is much bigger and it is completely, is the color, the shade is completely jet black. Okay, so raven is, here again we have a comparison, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. She is not saying that night is dark like raven, and she is not saying new snow is Romeo. So Romeo is new snow and raven is the black night. Here we can see a metaphoric use of language, right? This is the figurative language, right? Whiter than snow on a raven's back. So let us take up this two line. For you will lie upon the wings of night. Who? Romeo, when he lies on the wings of night, it seems like a snow has fallen on the raven's back, right? I told you raven is night and new snow is Romeo, right? It is very necessary, students, to understand the concept of comparison, right? That means the object which is compared to which object, right? Come, gentle night. Again, she is speaking to night. You can see. So, I told you that apostrophe means when you are speaking to someone and you are not expecting to be answered back. See, this is gentle night. That means she is not expecting that gentle night will answer her, but she is speaking. That is, it is imposing human characters to the nature, and while you are addressing particularly, this is termed as apostrophe, and imposing human nature to inert object, that is called personification. Come, gentle night. Come, loving black broad night. Here this portion, it is personification, you see, that is black broad night. It is strong. That means you are strong enough to fight against all this, their family, their enmity. Okay, so what is she says? Give me my Romeo, and when I shall die. Let us take up up to here. Loving black broad night, give me my Romeo. You please return my Romeo, and I believe that you are strong enough to fight against all odds and bring me back my Romeo, right? And when I shall die, see, this is irony, in a Greek tragedy, this is, it was explained that the imagination can go to the highest extent, right? So what she says, that I shall die, take him, cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine. that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. See, when we are we're in love with someone, we never expect, neither we expect to die, nor we expect ever that the someone, that particular person will ever die. What she says here, concept is something different because it focuses on the concept of a tragedy. She knows that they have to die, right? They have to surrender themselves for death because they are the star-crossed lover, right? So what she says that it is obvious that I have to die, I shall die, right? Take him and cut him into little stars. It is not you just slaughter him down, right? It is kind of changing that human is, that is the mortality, that is you change, and she and Romeo's love will stand forever, right? Like exemplary love. She says that she says about the immortality of their love. What she says, that though human being is mortal, but as you help us to change to the stars, they will change themselves, or rather, she says, after her death, Romeo will convert to stars. She expects that the star will never die, right? So, as Romeo will become the part of the constellation, people will forget about the garish sun. Rather, this particular star which symbolizes the love, Romeo, she will, sparkle forever in the mind of others, right? So, what she said, that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to garish sun. People will forget about garish sun, and people will worship the newly born star of love, that is Romeo, right? Perhaps you have understood the concept. I want to wind up now. Once you read it thoroughly and then try to understand, in the next session I will be discussing the question answers and the figure of speech. Okay, thank you for listening.